Welcome to episode 54 of Enter the Mind podcast, the most real talk, no nonsense podcast on the empowering of the mind. Today, we're going to be talking about the velocity of your spirit. Before we get to that, Kyra, how's it going this week?
Going well. My period has been a week late, so I've been getting period munchies for like a week straight. And now that it's finally come, actually like 2 weeks straight, now that it's finally come, I'm just craving healthy foods and stuff. But I'm also out of my apartment. I got my dream apartment and things are going really, really well for me. So how are things on your end, Robert?
Like the honesty there. Totally upfront. Things are very good here. I just got back from Chicago. I was there for 11 days for primarily my good friend's wedding. So congrats to my friend and his newlywed wife. And it was a great wedding in a luxury hotel in the Gold Coast. Couldn't be better, you know. It was amazing. Yeah. So that trip, actually, I'm going to segue this into the topic for today, because, you know, I always analyze my psychology, right? And this podcast is about real stuff. Like, it's not about, you know, oh, I read this study that blah, 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 and, you know, peer-reviewed journals. It's about, I woke up today, I felt like crap. How did I turn that around, right? That's what our podcast is about. So when I went on this trip, you know, I'm interacting with all these family members, aunts, uncles, cousins, old friends, you name it, right? And this is the best testing ground for psychology, because I'll tell you what happens when you move to the West Coast like me, or you move across the country and months go by and you don't see these people, and then you come back and visit home. A lot of things get triggered, right? So you come home and all of a sudden your tonality changes, right? And you see your cousin and it's like, wait, why did I just say something like that, right? Like, I might say, it might be, and I'm talking even deeper than just words, like not like, oh, hey, what up, man? You know, like just using slang words. I'm talking something deeper, like your pitch, right? Your pitch either goes deeper like this, and it's just, this is very like at the level of like millimeters difference versus your pitch or speaking from higher in the voice. Like right now I'm speaking higher in my voice box, you see, and it's a little bit softer. And this is fucking subtle as hell, right? This is really subtle. This is hard to pick up on if you're not actually like looking for it. But this is what I examine, right? So, and it's not just with family, right? But with things at work. Like, I had an interaction at work yesterday. I was talking to this person. I walked away. It's just ordinary conversation. But as I walked away, I realized, like, wait a second, why did my tonality shift like that? You know, why did I spoke, I think my voice went higher up in the voice box. So it was like a little bit more like head voice. Like this is head voice. If I'm speaking like really high up in my head and I'm thinking like all these problems right here, this is very different than like body voice. Body voice is when I'm like speaking and there's actually like vibrations, resonance like in my chest, and it's more of a full body. It's more of a full body voice. But I asked myself, I was like, why did that tonality take over me? Like, why? I'm trying to understand this. And I think I know the answer. I think the answer is that at the beginning or right before any behavior, we have some sort of image in our mind. And so when I approached that person, some sort of image came in my mind. My subconscious brought that image up, right? And then my behavior just automatically followed from that image. All right. It's no different in hockey when I envision a play and then I step on the ice and my body actually does exactly what I envisioned 2 seconds prior, right? It's no different. So this is the human experience. This is human psychology, that all day long, I'm just watching my body perform these things that actually manifest the images in my mind. All day long, that's all I'm doing. I'm watching my body manifest the images in my mind. And it's kind of trippy, like the here's how you could make it a little more obvious. Like, imagine if you go back and you see your family, right? And around each different person, your muscles do a different thing. So you go walk up to your cousin and all of a sudden your left arm starts going like this. Your left arm just starts randomly like spasming, shooting up, right? And you're like, I don't know what's going on. Like, it's just doing that, right? And then you walk up to your grandmother or grandfather, right? And then your neck twitches it and you're like, I don't know why it's doing that. It's just doing that. Sorry, right? That would be make it obvious, right? But what's really going on is that our mind, our own psychology is doing that. We just don't catch it because it's invisible, right? So we start acting different. We take on certain mindsets when we're in front of different people. And this is I have so much to say, but I want to pass it to you. I'm not even arrived at my my main point about the velocity of the spirit, but I've said a lot, so I want to see kind of like, what are your thoughts and reactions so far?
I love it. I was sitting here, open ears, open mind. I loved it. I definitely 100% agree. And I notice that when I get around certain people, it's like, I'm really confident. I'm a really confident woman. I have, really confident feelings in my body. I know where I'm going. I know what I want to do. But when I get around certain people, I notice that all of a sudden, it's like, now I'm afraid to talk, or like, now I'm afraid to be myself, or like, now I'm afraid to be like who I am. And all of a sudden I realize that I change and I start to not like myself very much. And it happens when I get around certain people. And then when I get around other people, it's like they embrace it. They embrace that confidence within myself. So maybe I needed more self-control than I am before I even came to see them. Maybe now I'm sitting with my back straight, and maybe now I'm thinking about business, and maybe now I'm thinking about all of the beautiful things that could be going on in my life, as opposed to getting around somebody and thinking about all of my problems and thinking about it. They're bringing out my insecurities, not my insecurities. Actually, no, they're not bringing out my insecurities, but they're bringing out the worst parts of me, and as opposed to somebody bringing out the best parts of me. And I feel like I've come to a conclusion with that, where people are searching for those qualities in you, because we've talked about before, you set the tone for how somebody is to act. So you act a certain way, that person is most likely going to act a certain way.
Right. Yeah. Really good point. Like we're always, in a way, we're always like reacting to our environment. But then our environment, including the people in it, also react to us. And it's almost like we're all just a bunch of like bouncy balls, like psychologically, where it's just like, oh, I have this self-image, so now I portray that, and then the other person reacts and they accept the self-image we put out, and so then they reinforce it, because then they have this expectation of us, and it's just this boom, 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 right? Yes. And that's those are the dynamics of the human mind and of identity, right?
Yes.
I want to say something about well, no, let me make another point on this topic, right? This is why I've been studying acting, right? I'm going through that masterclass.com website. They have a bunch of acting classes. One is taught by Samuel L. Jackson. He like dissects the Pulp Fiction scenes. It's so cool. And another one by Natalie Portman. And the reason I'm studying acting, all of us are actors already. It's just that many of us forgot the day when society handed us the script that we have in our hands. And so we took it, we put it in our back pocket. We've been following it all along, but we forgot that it was handed to us. And that was a big insight from this trip to Chicago, because the fact of psychology, ask any psychologist or ask any psychology professional, our behavior is like 95% like automatic. It's like the things we say, the things we do, our mannerisms, all this stuff. It's just so the fact is, like, people might think, oh, you're being fake. Then if you're going to be acting like, then you're kind of being fake. You're not really being authentic if you're just trying to play a certain role or something. Like,
if you ever feel like you're starring in a movie that's not yours, like almost like you know that you're in this movie, but it seems that you are in the wrong motherfucking movie, because you're not you. You're not you in this movie. You're somebody else, because you're playing a role in somebody else's movie. You have decided to play this role in somebody else's movie sometime along the way, when you forgot your leadership skills, when you forgot your I am enough feelings, and you forgot that you are the star of your movie. And you started playing a role in somebody else's movie. Now, when you start to wake up and you start to realize that things aren't going exactly how you want them to go, it doesn't seem that people are having the reactions to you or the response to you that you think people should have, you're just starring in the wrong movie. It's almost like an illusion of the mind. It's almost like you're living in this illusion, and this illusion is not real, because it is not your movie. It is not the script that was given to you by the gods when you were born. And all you have to do is open your eyes and shift to the movie that you are actually supposed to be in. The movie where this is your fucking movie, the movie that feels familiar, the movie that feels like this is the way that my life is supposed to be lived. And that is a big point that I wanted to make about the whole movie thing and being yourself, etc.
Yeah, we're totally on the same wavelength here, because a big part of this is like awakening your soul to its fullest extent. I was watching another one of those masterclass courses is taught by RuPaul, the drag queen.
Yes.
And he teaches a class on authenticity and self-expression. And I was like, oh, I'm all over this. So I started watching it, and that dude is smart. Like, he's spitting psychology fire. And I was not expecting that from some sort of just flamboyant, glamorous drag queen. But he started explaining kind of his moments of inspiration growing up, when he saw on television Diana Ross and the Supremes performing, their songs. And he talked about watching Diana Ross just look so glamorous and just center stage, and she's singing and she's giving 100%. She's giving it her all, and just so glamorous. You got the shakes there, huh?
Yeah.
What did that do for you?
It's just beautiful, because I always say that the weirdest people on earth, and I'm not saying that RuPaul is weird, but weird. He's kind of weird, in a good way. But the most out there and weirdest people on the earth, those are the people that you will get the best lessons of authenticity from. And that's why I enjoy the weirdest people that I find, and the craziest motherfuckers that I find, because they're being themselves. I love it.
Totally. So as he's describing, watching Diana Ross when he was young, he says, and I just had this thought and feeling of, this is what I want, right? And that's the code. Okay, so we're going to talk about entering the mind and understanding the mind. This is how you use language to kind of open up these channels and trigger the emotions. And so that's a certain line and there's a certain tonality. I'm going to repeat it again. So it's, and as I repeat this, think about for yourself, what would be that moment where you would feel that feeling. Okay. And that feeling is in words expressed by, this is what I want. So that's the feeling. And when I kind of thought about it, I was like, actually, I have that version. What about you? Did something come to mind?
We're on the same wavelength at all times, at all freaking times, you and I. It's crazy because this is exactly everything that I have been studying and really taking into my soul the past like 3 weeks to a month. I don't know if it had been stirring before that, but it's become very clear in my mind. And when I'm speaking, I like when what I'm feeling and what I'm imagining match my words. So I left my house, right? And I go, I'm so fucking excited to start like new or something like that. And when I said start new, for some reason, I was thinking back at my old house and that state of my old house. And I go, wait a minute, that's not what I want. That is not what I want. This is what I want. This is what I want. And so it all ties in together. And that, I think that you said it really good. So I'm not going to repeat it, but I 100%, this is AES.
Right on, right on. So then now we have to ask, how does this tie into acting and everything, right? Well, if you lock on to that vision for yourself, right, then that's the character. That's your character that you're going to play. And every little moment throughout the day, you can ask, would my character do this, right? You're sitting there, to the people watching, watching on YouTube, listening. Would your character be doing this? Would your character be listening to a podcast on self-improvement? Would your character, right? How would your character be sitting? How are you sitting right now listening to this podcast? Are you going on a jog? Are you sitting down watching this? Are you relaxed? Are you on a couch? Are you in a luxury apartment? Like whatever this vision of what you really, really want for yourself, or what you know is right and what is yours and what is your identity, what, like, paint the scene, like make it reality. Would your character be wearing rings? Would your character be dressed in the way that you're currently dressed? All of these things. Would your character be sitting the way that you're sitting watching this podcast, right? Are your legs crossed? Are your legs? And now you'll start to see, like, what if a movie director was right next to you, kind of coaching you through this, and you're actually playing this role, this character that is not insignificant. It's not just this thing that was handed to you. It's deep down what's really at your true core, right? And there's nothing more fulfilling than that.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
So, I mean, that's why I'm always trying to catch my own tonality. I mean, that's my current study these days, right? Is catching my tonality to see if, and then ask, would my character talk like that? Would my character talk a little slower? This is applicable. Like, everybody can do this throughout your day. You can be like, okay, would my character speak a little slower right now? Is this the moment where my character would speak slower? Or is this the moment where my character would speak faster? How would my character walk? And all of this stuff, like, it's just there's so many opportunities. There's so many micro opportunities. But this is, to me, this is taking back our lives. This is taking back our minds, taking back our psyche. Yeah, because we've been giving it up way too much. It's just, yeah, we've become robots. We've given up our most valuable resource, which is our ability to truly be ourselves.
I literally couldn't agree more. I've been working on my whole what is your character thing for I think over a year now. And I like that it's coming 100% coming to fruition because I knew it. I knew it when I thought of this. I don't know if I saw it anywhere first, but I knew that when I thought of this whole like pick your character from a video game, that it was going to be something really, really, really good for me and really, really good for other people to tap into and really just understand that like when you are acting as this person, no, it's not fake. It's actually 20,000 million, a billion, gajillion times more real than you have ever been in your life. And I think that another thing that I want to touch on with the character is what I realized my whole life when I've been seeing things in other people's lives or in movies, etc. I realized I was seeing from a specific viewpoint, and I had a certain feeling when I watched these things. And the more I become myself, the more I realized that everything that I was looking at in these movies is actually me. Whatever I perceive of somebody else, the beauty that I perceive in somebody else, yes, it could be them, but it's me. And it's who I am. And I realized that the more years that go by and the more that I grow out of an old perspective and go into a new one, I just realized that all of the beauty that I was seeing in the world and other people in movies, it's actually me. It's actually my life that I have been seeing and pretending as if it's not my own. And when it actually is my own. So that's another way to, I guess, step into your true character and understand that when that flow comes upon you and you're really feeling like yourself and you're really, you just feel so fucking good. That's everything that you have been imagining in life and other people, except it's you.
Yeah. And I think another word that people use to describe that phenomenon is resonance. And when they say, oh, that resonates with me, the meaning of that is like, I remember in like 6th grade music class, the teacher had these forks, these metal tuning forks, and there was like a set of like 10 of them and all different sizes, right? And so they emit different frequencies when you hit them because they're different sizes. And so she took one that matched in size to only one of the 10 other tuning forks, right? So she hit the first one, and when she hit the first one and it's, resonating like this, right? Of all the 10, the only one that was resonating with it was the one of the same size. And the other ones didn't, right? And why? Because that's the true frequency of that one tuning fork, right? So that's how I think about when RuPaul is growing up and sees Diana Ross on television and says, this, oh my gosh, this is what I want. That's the tuning forks resonating. That's attuning to the frequency, and that's finding like that true frequency, right? And I think it's a very popular phrase these days of, attune to the frequency, or like, what's your frequency? Find it, right? But the follow-up question is always, well, what does that look like? What does that mean? Like, it's nice. It's a nice phrase, but what does that really mean? And to me, that RuPaul example is what it means. It's like, you see something in the movies, kind of like what you're saying. In the movies, you see yourself, right? These characters you fall in love with or whatever. In the movies, you realize, hey, that's me. That's my frequency. That's my people. That's me. This is it, right? And so that's kind of the feeling that I associate with the frequency thing. Is that kind of how you understand attuning?
Yeah, I definitely can resonate with that. Yeah, definitely. Because when you tap into, when you, I guess, realize that resonance is something because it is of the same frequency and it is of the same vibe, then I think that it's then okay for you to step into that and say, okay, this is me too. This is, we are on the same wavelength, and this is me too, and this is you, and this is me, and I'm me, and you're you, and it's just great. It's the whole tapping into your dream life and who you actually are is, oh my God, it's one of the most beautiful feelings I've ever felt in my entire fucking life. And it's easy. It becomes easier. Like life becomes easier when I tap into and attune with that frequency of who I actually am. And yeah, I can't express enough how much easier and how much more in flow your life becomes when you're actually being yourself. And I think that you find out who you are by seeing something in other people and realizing, and it's almost like stuck to you. Like, for example, there are times when, you know, I've tried to like push through my period pains or my struggles in life, and I just don't feel like me. And oh my God, I'm getting emotional, but it's like, I'm so emotional this week. But I realized that when I just allow myself to be in pain and I allow myself to just sit there and be in pain, it's so much more me than I would ever be trying to push through it. Now, you know, maybe that's me and maybe somebody else feels more like them pushing through it. But I feel like everybody comes to that point where you need to embrace your pain and you need to embrace your loneliness. And what I realized is that a lot of people are very comfortable with telling me that they're lonely. Like, they're like, oh, I don't like to be home alone. Like, I get lonely. And I'm like, wow, that's amazing that you can admit that to yourself. And all of a sudden, I see them as a more likable person because I see that they're expressing their truth, and which makes me want to express my truth and say, I want to be human like that. I want to feel and be myself like that. So I think that, yeah, all in all, it's just attuning to the frequency of your dream life. That is the way to fucking go.
And it's, I mean, it's also about getting closer to reality, like you said, when you've got those pains and cramps and whatnot, like kind of like acknowledging and accepting, like, hey, all right, this is what it is. I'm going to feel it. You know, one of the phrases I use, you know, when I talk to people who are going through difficult times, you know, maybe coaching clients of mine and things like that, is, you know, I say, okay, so you're like really devastated by what just happened in your life, like, and it hurts. So feel this pain, because this pain is not going to be here forever. This is limited time only, you know, so feel it right now for all that it's worth, because this is temporary. This pain is going to be, it's going to flee at some point. What are you smiling about?
I just, it's beautiful. It's really, really beautiful.
Yeah. And yeah, I think very good point. Like, just not resisting, kind of, you know, you said the more you try to fight it or run away from it or ignore it, yeah, you're right. You're exactly right. Like, it's, you know, the more that it creates excess potential, to, yeah, to try to deny the reality.
Yeah, because I feel like that has you almost running circles in your head. Because it's like you're trying to deny this reality, but it's going to come keep a knocking. And then you're like, you have all of this excess potential, all of these excess thoughts that aren't doing anything for you at all. You're just running these circles in your head. And if you would just embrace what you're feeling at all times, I mean, it's not easy, because all of a sudden when you get really, really excited, maybe you feel weird expressing your excitement, or maybe you feel weird expressing your love. And there are times when it needs to be controlled. But I think that, something just happened to me the other day, and I was getting my car, and these motherfuckers had me waiting, and I had left my oven on at home because I asked how long that I would be there. They said 5 minutes. I said, okay, 5 minutes. I'll leave my oven on. They had me waiting 45 minutes. So I started having a panic attack because I didn't want to get an Uber home and an Uber back. And I was screaming. I was like, fuck. And this is a road where like lots of people are on. There's lots of car shops. I was throwing my hat at the fence. I was like, fuck, man. And I heard these two Jamaican guys. And oh my God, they raised my vibe, and I was angry at it. I was like, stop, you guys are making me fucking happy. And I'm really pissed right now. I'm nervous about my oven. So eventually they come over to me and they say, hey, what's wrong? And I go, God, I'm literally like, I couldn't even talk, but it was completely authentic and completely self-controlled. I wasn't losing control. I was having that feeling inside of me, and I was self-controllingly expressing it. And since I was being so authentic, the guy gave me a ride home to go turn off my oven. He gave me a ride back. And on top of that, he gave me a free bag of flour. Now, I don't tote flour, but I gave it to my friend. But still, because I was so authentic, I was able to receive something that I needed. And because I allowed that pain and that anger and that lividness to pour over me and mean it and feel it and be like, there was nothing else that I want to feel on this moment right now but this, because it's fucking real and it's what I feel. And because of that, I got what I wanted. And I feel like it's just as hard as it is sometimes to express all of your emotions, the bad ones, the good ones, the uncomfortable ones, all of that. When you really allow yourself to be like, okay, I am seriously feeling this way right now, and I'm going to fucking feel it. And I'm going to do it in the most self-controlled, authentic, natural, based in reality way. And that is when everything good comes to you.
Yeah, totally. Very insightful words on getting close to reality. I think embracing it and not running from it. And I think my final words for the day, final thoughts for the day will be our power question for the day. And if you have one as well, you're welcome to share. We can have two if you'd like, but my power question of the day would be, what am I trying to not see? What am I trying to not see? And it's the point of that question is to uncover those parts of reality that we're trying to ignore, run away from, because it's different. Trying to ignore and run away versus acknowledging and then taking a productive action for it. But it all starts with the awareness. So asking, what is my mind, or what am I trying to not see right now?
I am obsessed. I'm obsessed with that because I feel like there's a lot of stuff that I hide from myself, and I've been realizing that, and I'm like, Kyra, you're hiding something from yourself. We got to see it. I don't think that it's going to hurt as bad as you think that it's going to hurt. So we should just go ahead and take a look at it, just take a little peek, and then open our eyes at it, just look at it. So that's really, really good. It's a great power question. And I think that my power question for the day would be, in which ways are you hiding yourself? In which ways am I hiding myself due to other people telling me that it was once wrong? And I think that that will help you, our listeners, to feel, to hopefully connect with the parts of yourself that are completely authentic and that you have pushed away because somebody else told you that it was wrong.
I like it. When you asked that question, even something within me opened up, a channel opened up. So that's a great, healing question and self-actualization prompting question. So, all right, I think we did it for today. That's episode 54. Thank you all for watching and listening. If this was helpful and you gained some insights, then be sure to show your love by hitting the like button, sharing, subscribing, and in the comments, write your thoughts on what kind of topics or scenarios you'd like us to discuss in the coming weeks. So thank you once again. We will see you all next week.